Forget everything you thought you knew about pterosaurs. Even giraffe-sized ones only scratched the surface of how unbelievably strange these ancient flying reptiles could get. Let's start with one of the tiniest pterosaurs ever discovered, Nemicolopterus. This little guy was so small it could have comfortably fit in the palm of your hand. Imagine a creature the size of a sparrow, with leathery wings and a face that's both adorable and slightly terrifying. Its enormous eyes were perfect for hunting in the dim light of dusk and dawn, letting it snatch insects straight out of the air with pinpoint accuracy. Its body was covered in a soft fuzz, helping it fly almost silently, much like a modern owl sneaking up on prey. But the weirdest feature was its skull. It was wider than it was long, giving it a short, squashed face with no beak, just one giant mouth stretched across its head. Every cute trait was actually a deadly adaptation for vacuuming up bugs in the twilight. And yet, Nemicolopterus is just the beginning. Because if you think that's strange, wait until you meet the pterosaur that turned its mouth into a living sieve. This is Pterodaustro, one of the best understood pterosaurs in the fossil record. We've found hundreds of specimens, from tiny eggs and adorable babies all the way to full-grown adults, often preserved side by side. That suggests these animals lived in large, noisy colonies, much like modern seabirds. With a wingspan of about 7 to 10 feet, Pterodaustro was surprisingly light, weighing only around 20 pounds, lighter than a Thanksgiving turkey. But its lifestyle was completely unlike most other pterosaurs. Instead of chasing fish or insects, it was a filter feeder. Its lower jaw was packed with over 1,000 thin, bristle-like teeth that worked exactly like the baleen of a whale, or the bill of a flamingo. It would wade through shallow water, swinging its head side to side, straining out microscopic plankton and tiny crustaceans. And here's the fun part, because flamingos get their famous pink color from the crustaceans they eat. There's a real chance that Pterodaustro might have sported a soft pink hue too, at least during feeding season. But every once in a while, a single fossil comes along that completely rewrites what we thought pterosaurs were capable of. Meet Sinopterus, a small pterosaur from early Cretaceous China, about 120 million years ago. It belonged to a bizarre group called the tapejarids, animals that were already pushing the limits of weird even by pterosaur standards. For years, scientists noticed that their beaks looked suspiciously like the beaks of modern fruit-eating birds, such as toucans or hornbills. But without direct evidence, the idea that any pterosaur ate plants was dismissed as pure speculation. That all changed when researchers found a Sinopterus specimen with its last meal still preserved inside its stomach, a belly full of plant material. This single discovery proved beyond doubt that pterosaurs weren't just carnivores. Some of them were herbivores, opening up an entirely new chapter in their evolutionary story, and showing just how ecologically diverse they really were. And nowhere is that diversity more obvious than in their incredible head crests. While Sinopterus kept its crest relatively modest, some of its close relatives took crest fashion to absurd extremes. Tupandactylus, from early around 12 million years ago. This animal had one of the most outrageous skulls ever found. Preserved around the bony crest is a clear, mineral outline of the massive keratin sheath that once covered it. The same material that makes up a bird's beak or a rhino's horn. That bright orange color you see in photos isn't what it looked like in life. It's just iron minerals that perfectly preserved the shape. The smaller azhdarchids relative Tupandactylus imperator, another level. Its crest alone stood over 2 feet tall, rising like a giant colorful billboard above its head. These crests almost certainly had nothing to do with flight. If anything, they made flying slightly harder, so why grow them? Simple. Sexual selection. They were the prehistoric version of looks-maxing. Massive, expensive signals saying, "I'm so healthy and well-fed that I can afford to waste energy on this completely impractical ornament." And if you thought Tupandactylus was over the top, Nyctosaurus somehow made it even stranger. Instead of a full sail-like crest, it had just a long, naked bony rod shooting backward from its skull, each nearly as long as the rest of its body. It looked like someone had taken the outline of a crest and removed everything except the frame. Pure minimalist drama. Now, let's talk about the true giants, the azhdarchids, the largest flying animals that have ever lived on Earth for a long time. Scientists assumed that as pterosaurs got bigger, they would eventually lose the ability to fly, just like the largest modern birds such as ostriches. But pterosaurs didn't play by bird rules. They evolved flight on a completely different body plan. Birds fly with feathered arms and launch with their legs. Pterosaurs flew with a huge skin membrane stretched between an enormously elongated fourth finger and their ankle. And they used all four limbs to launch in a powerful quadrupedal leap. This quad launch gave them a massive advantage. Combined with ultralight hollow bones and an extensive air sac system, even the biggest azhdarchids stayed astonishingly lightweight for their size. One of the most mind-bending examples comes from a strange island ecosystem in what is now Romania during the late Cretaceous. Hatzeg Island was part of an archipelago where resources were limited. Most plant-eating dinosaurs shrank dramatically. Sauropods reached only about 6 meters long. Hadrosaurs were half the size of their mainland cousins. The entire ecosystem was a miniature version of the normal Cretaceous world. But while the herbivores got smaller, one predator went the opposite direction. This was Hatzegopteryx, a colossal azhdarchid pterosaur with a wingspan possibly reaching 33 to 39 feet. Its skull alone was nearly 9 feet long, and its neck vertebrae were so thick and robust that early researchers mistook them for theropod dinosaur bones. At around 500 pounds, it was likely the heaviest pterosaur we have good evidence for. Its short, reinforced neck and enormous jaws turned its head into a devastating, battering ram, powerful enough to take down the dwarf sauropods and other island dinosaurs that lived alongside it, and crucially, it could still fly. That ability was its superpower. When food became scarce on one island, Hatzegopteryx could simply take off, cross the sea, and hunt on another island. That mobility let it remain a giant, while everything else around it shrank or vanished. The result was one of the strangest apex predators the Cretaceous world ever produced. Of course, if you want to meet the most famous giant of them all, the giraffe-sized Quetzalcoatlus, there's an entire video dedicated to it right here. And if you're enjoying the dark background, that's because this is the members-only version. Members get every new video in dark mode. They get to vote on future topics, and their names are added to the fossil record at the end of every script. If you want to watch in eye-friendly dark mode and help shape what we cover next, consider joining the channel.